1 in 7 people live in strata, and by, I think it's 2025, they're saying that 4.2 million people in Australia will be living in strata. It's the industry of the future. So those of you who are in it now are certainly working in an industry that is in its growth phase in a big way. However, just want to chat today about proxies at general meetings. So as you're gathering proxies, as you're dealing with these, if you're a strata manager, or even if you're a property manager who's being asked by your landlord, how do they deal with these things? Obviously, if you're a property manager, you would refer people onto their strata manager, but sometimes you are their go-to person because you're managing their investment. So guys, you need to know about this, and strata managers, obviously, you definitely need to know about this. Now, it all changed a couple of years ago when the legislation changed. So for a proxy to be valid, it needs to be handed in the form that's prescribed by the regulations, and strata managers will send that out with all the general meeting, whether it's an annual general meeting or an extraordinary general meeting. They'll send out the proxy forms with all the documentation, and whether that's electronically or via paper, mostly electronically these days, then it needs to be in the prescribed form. And that's fine because that's what strata managers do. And if you don't have that, then contact us and we'll talk you through that. Now, an owner can make any person their proxy. So it doesn't need to be another lot owner, but they can make any person their proxy. However, the number of proxies that any one person can hold, so if I am not one of the lot owners and somebody wants to make me their proxy, then they will fill in the form, nominate me as their proxy, and then the most number of proxies that I can hold is limited. Now, if the scheme has less than 20 lots, then I can only hold one proxy. If the scheme has more than 20 lots, I can hold as many proxies that equal not more than 5% of the total number of lots. Now, if I am a lot owner, obviously I have my own vote if I'm attending the meeting, and I can hold one other proxy. For schemes that are less than 20 lots, for schemes that are more, I can hold up to 5%, and that includes mine. So it needs to be very careful. You as a strata manager need time to actually be making sure that people meet those requirements when they're saying that they're holding proxies on behalf of anyone else. So any proxy needs to be given to the secretary before or at the meeting, and that is usually, the strata manager is taking on that role. In the case of large strata schemes, so we're looking at over 100 lots here, the proxies must be given to the secretary at least 24 hours before the scheduled meeting. So that's all the details about that are in Schedule 1 of the regulations. So I think it's Part 3. So now there are conditions apply to proxies. A proxy needs to state whether the person that's there as the proxy or holding the proxy can vote on all matters or only certain matters. It needs to state how the proxy should vote on a motion for the appointment or continuation of the strata managing agent, if that's an issue for that meeting. It has an effect for a specified period of time. It's either for 12 months or it's for a specific meeting or it's for 2 consecutive annual general meetings. But the form needs to actually state all of this. It has no effect if at the last minute the person who's handed the proxy to somebody else turns up at the meeting, the proxy goes void, and the person obviously makes their own vote in person, or if it's being done electronically or via telephone, however that's happening. So if 2 have been issued, if somebody issues a proxy to one person, then they issue a proxy to the strata manager or to somebody else because they've changed their mind about who they want to hold the proxy, obviously the most recent proxy is the valid proxy. So now, and there's terms around being a building manager or a strata manager or an on-site residential manager can't use proxies to obtain a financial or a material benefit for the proxy holder. So, which is about extension of terms for building managers, for strata managers, an increase in the remuneration for building managers or strata managers or on-site managers. or a decision or not to delay or proceed or in relation to legal matters. So a whole range of things. This is all in part 3 of Schedule 1. But really it goes back to the one thing I really wanted to raise here was about the number of proxies that any one person can hold. Because previously one person could hold as many as they liked. Now it is one additional proxy. So one proxy for small stratas under 20 lots, and over 20 lots, it's 5% of the total. So you just need to keep that in mind when you're organising those proxy votes, or if you're giving advice around those proxy votes.